Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, is a disgrace. He posted a video just now and he said Eid Mubarak, extending his warm wishes to those celebrating Eid to Muslims. And in it, he talks about what Israel's doing in Gaza and saying how terrible it is, and makes no distinction between those who have been killed, between Hamas and non-Hamas fighters. What he does is launch basically a blood libel against Israel by avoiding this distinction, by putting no context into what's happening. And he's actually elevating this blood libel to the status of a religious rite by inserting it into his Eid greeting. I want you to have a watch of what he says.
Assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak. As the Mayor of London, I want to send my warmest wishes to everyone celebrating Eid here in London and around the world. Eid marks the end of Ramadan, a month of fasting, charity, prayer and reflection. It's an opportunity to express our gratitude for everything we have and to strengthen our faith and spirituality. And now as Eid arrives, it's time for joy, togetherness and community. A time when families and friends can celebrate by sharing good food and lively conversation. Of course, this year, for many, the usual happiness we feel during Eid will be tempered by the appalling suffering and killing that continues in Sudan and Palestine. More than 50,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza as a result of Israel's ongoing military campaign, including more than 15,000 children. While in Sudan, tens of thousands have been killed and millions displaced by a devastating civil war now entering its third year. These betrayals of humanity should weigh heavily on
betrayals of humanity.
Conscience. But I'm proud that while the international community has chosen to avert its gaze, Londoners have not. Throughout Ramadan, we've seen incredible acts of kindness from our Muslim communities, fundraising for those in desperate need and giving generously to local charity.
Okay, I'm just going to stop there because obviously that's where the point that I want to pick up on ends. He says that it betrays humanity what Israel's doing in Gaza. So he thinks it's fine to have in his Eid message talking about what Israel's doing, how evil Israel is, and how there's been 50,000 killed. No context of who has been killed, that Israel has achieved the lowest ratio of combatant to non-combatant in the history of modern urban warfare. That's according to UN figures. When America and Britain fought ISIS and Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, the ratio of combatant to non-combatant was much higher. You had about 5 to 9 civilians for every one combatant killed. And he says Israel's ongoing, military excursions, as if it's like Israel's this terrible evil force comparable to what's happening in Sudan. No context for the fact they're going after Hamas. No context, by the way, that the majority of the people in Gaza support what Hamas are doing or did on October 7th, although we're starting to see that change now. But it's Hamas that are making them suffer, that have caused this war in the first place. But no, he puts the blame on Israel. And he says they're killing 50,000, almost like it's completely indiscriminate. No context for why Israel are there in the first place because of Hamas's disgraceful, evil acts of genocide on October 7th. And more than that, he decides to pick out what's happening in Gaza and Sudan. Why doesn't he want to talk about the minority communities that have been recently massacred in their thousands, if not tens of thousands, in Syria? Why doesn't he want to talk about the suffering of Muslims, the Uyghurs in China being oppressed? It almost feels like his inclusion of Sudan as one other thing to pick up on. It's just a kind of a wink and a nod. It's a token inclusion so that he can't be accused of singling out Israel. It's utterly disgraceful. You should know, by the way, I recently came across some more info because we know that Israel is achieving the lowest ratio of combatant to non-combatant, but we're actually finding out that it's even more precise than we first thought. As someone shared with me recently, when the Gaza Ministry gives numbers that the BBC say the Gaza Ministry for Health claims were killed since the war began, that is a lie. The Gaza Ministry for Health makes claims about how many people have died. The way you work out the number who have died because of the war, however, is called the excess deaths, i.e. how many have died over and above the number who would die anyway in any non-war year. The baseline in any 18-month period that includes 2 winters is that around 11,000 Gazans would die unrelated to the war, including over 1,000 babies. So if they say 50,000 have died, that means they are claiming 39,000 deaths due to the war, which includes over 20,000 Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad fighters, and many, many Gazans who died because Hamas killed them, or gang warfare, or of the 1,000+ rockets that misfired and landed back in the Strip, or because of explosives in civilian homes that detonated early, or booby-trapped explosives that were in civilian homes that, when Gazans came home, detonated and killed them, etc., etc. As well as the civilians who died as a result of the fighting, which, as we know, is the lowest civilian to non-combatant ratio in the history of urban warfare. Also, they have now dropped 3,400 names who were on their September 2024 list of 34,000 verified names, i.e. 10% of the people they had claimed to have verified had in fact never died, similar to the 4,000 false names from the report before that. So that means that as of September 2024, there were 30,000 dead Gazans, including something like 15 to 17,000 Hamas fighters. There was very little fighting between then and 2 weeks ago, and yet we are meant to believe that 20,000 died in between. So far, all their recent reports have included between 10 to 20% false names who are then dropped in later reports, which mean that in this report, between 5 to 10,000 names are likely to be people who have not died. So in fact, we're likely looking at 34,000 war-related deaths, possibly 2 out of 3. 2 out of every 3 being Hamas fighters. So Sadiq Khan, you are a disgrace for not apportioning the blame appropriately, for targeting Israel, for doing whatever she needs to do to protect herself. She said I cannot think of a more just war in recent times than Israel's war in Gaza. And yet he's elevated blood libeling Israel, undermining Israel, when she's in her hour of need, when she is doing what she needs to do to protect herself, to defend her people and ensure security for her people. And he's elevated it to the status of a religious targeting of the one and only Jewish state. It's utterly shameful, and I think this has revealed the Mayor of London's true colours.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.